Hi, this is Carl the Cobra Frutch, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. We've just come off a bumpy boat ride, and I'm delighted to be joined by Andrea Jane Bunker, who's kindly enough given me her time. Thank you very much, I really appreciate it. I know you've had a lot of media wanting to speak to you today, so I thought I'd try my luck at the end, and thankfully you said yes to an interview. Andrea, how are you?
Oh, I'm really good, thank you, David. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Oh, I'm all right now, that's for sure.
Now you're off the boat.
Yeah, definitely. But listen, an historic event ahead of us on Saturday night, an all-women's card at the O2 Arena. We've got the undisputed middleweight title on the line between Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. Just how excited are you for the fight?
I'm absolutely buzzing. I think this is history, this in the making right now. I mean, UK versus US, an all-female fight card. It's going to be a good night. I'm really excited. I love my boxing, so I'm really excited that I'm going to be part of that atmosphere and part of that crowd on the night.
There was a bit of needle between the two fighters at the end of the face-off, which was kind of expected, seeing as what's gone down on The Gloves Are Off on social media. But yeah, what have you made of the build-up to the fight? And did you perhaps watch The Gloves Are Off between Savannah and Clarissa?
I haven't caught up on that yet, but the thing is, I think sometimes it's not always a bad thing when they have that, because it gives them more aggression on the night. It means that they got something else to fight for, rather, because it's all well and good when you have, you want to have a fight and that's part of the boxing, but when there's actual genuine beef there, it makes it more of a good watch, doesn't it, really? So yeah, it just makes it even more intense and makes it even more of a good fight to watch. So yeah, it's going to be a good night.
The million-dollar question is, are you backing your fellow Brit to win on Saturday night, or do you favour Clarissa Shields?
We've got to follow our Brit. Our fellow Brit. We have to. I've got to be Team UK, but I mean, seeing Clarissa Shields up there, I mean, she is an absolute unit. I mean, and she knows how to work a crowd as well. I mean, she's got great energy about her, but, who would I be if I wasn't to support Team UK? Come on.
It's been, a month since your fight with Elle Brooke?
Yeah, it's been, it was in July, I think. So, yeah, it's been about 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
How are you sort of feeling after that whole event? Because, I was unfortunate enough not to be there because of work commitments and family commitments, but I did sort of watch the whole build-up on social media, YouTube, the Kingpin Boxing YouTube channel. It's a lot of hostility in these TikTok fights, these YouTuber fights, isn't it?
Do you know what? I'm more of a lover than a fighter. I love the fight. I love fighting for the actual fighting. For me, the trash talk side, I mean, she's just vile, my opponent. But do you know what? The sad thing is do you know what? Wherever beef was there before, take it out in the ring, and then after that you think the beef's done, but she was so disrespectful towards me after the fight. So yeah, I've just got no respect for her really as an opponent. No, I mean, I guess you need it, but yeah, as I said, I don't mind the build-up fighting, but after the fight, it's like there should be a level of respect there. That's what, or in boxing, you think there should be sportsmanship, but she didn't really have that. So wouldn't mind fighting her again, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
What did you make of the decision in the end? Because I know the judges went in favour of her. Do you feel it was the right decision, or did you think you did enough to win that fight against Elle Brooke?
I honestly, during the fight, I knew I was landing more shots and I was hitting her more. Obviously, when you're in there, it was my first fight, I didn't know how clean those shots were. So I thought I was winning because I definitely had more contact with her than she had with me. Obviously, she got the W and I was quite surprised. But when I was in my dressing room after the fight finished, I did have a judge come in and say, I don't know how you didn't win that, or at least I don't know how it was at least not a split decision, because I didn't score her to win every round. So based on the points, it was as if the judges scored every round, and they said it was a unanimous decision. Should have been at least a split decision, because a judge genuinely came into my dressing room and told me that's not what I scored. So rigged, not rigged, possibly rigged, because obviously if you have a judge coming in saying that they scored you differently and it should have at least been a split decision, then that just shows, doesn't it? But do you know what? Before I took that fight on, my coach did say to me, he's like, unless you knock this girl out, she's going to have that fight. It's going to be her fight because you're coming with 2 weeks' notice. It's her fight. So it was expected, possibly, but I just thought, I didn't know it was this corrupt in the boxing game. I was hoping for something different, but here we go.
Right, anyway, let's talk about what happens next. Now that you've had a taste of what it's like being in the ring, press conference, fight week build-ups, I mean, Andrea, what is it? What is it that you're planning on doing next? I know you've got a huge following on social media, TikTok, Instagram, etc., etc. But what is it that Andrea Jane Bunker wants to do next? I know there's still a potential chance of a rematch, but do you fancy getting in the ring again?
I definitely want to get back in the ring again, and might not be too long until I'm back in the ring again. Not fighting out, but yeah, I watch this space. It probably won't be too long till you see me back in the ring. And I do really want to do an MMA fight at some point. Obviously, that was what I was training a little bit longer for. I only had 2 weeks to try and condition myself into boxing. So eventually, at some point, I do want to take on MMA as well. But when that happens, we need an influencer card for MMA, because the one I was on obviously fell through. So if there's an MMA fight out there, influencers, then yeah, I'm down for that as well.
As I said, I mean, obviously these TikTok, YouTube fights, you get a lot of hostility between the fighters, a lot of back and forth. But you've also got the public who have a certain opinion on TikTokers and YouTubers getting in the ring. Some people are for it, some people against it. I mean, if we look at how well Jake Paul's done so far, how he's gone from the start of his career to where he is now, people have a certain opinion about it, and listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But what would your message be to those people who aren't for TikTokers and YouTubers and social media influencers getting in the ring?
So although you even see that side as, although they're TikTokers or influencers or whatnot, just remember, like, outside of all the beef, there's dedication. We're strict. We're training hard. You know, and that's it. We're not just doing it for the sake of just doing it. It takes, like, no one sees the blood, sweat, and tears you put into training. I had busted nose, a busted lip from sparring. So you know, we're not just taking this on for the fun and games. And you know, if anything, I want to influence people and women, guys, into trying something they've never done before, taking yourself out of the comfort zone. So I think, you know, if people think a certain way, just be like, do you know what, if TikTokers or influencers are doing it, it's only because they actually want to probably influence the sport. And you know, if some people might be doing it for the wrong reasons, but not everyone is in it for the wrong purposes and reasons. That makes sense.
Andrea, before I let you go, what is the number one fight you would like to see in boxing within the next 18 months?
Oh yeah, we've obviously seen the Fury Joshua call out, so that's definitely one. I hope that goes ahead. I think that's definitely one to watch, because obviously Fury's meant to be retired. So and obviously we saw what happened with the Usyk Joshua fight. So you know what, this is really a chance for Joshua for AJ to, like, you know, bring it back really. So I think he kind of needs this. So I hope that happens. I hope it goes ahead. I think it'll be a really good one to watch. So yeah, see what happens there.
Well, Andrea, listen, once again, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure finally getting to speak to you. And we'll definitely keep an eye on your career and look forward to seeing what's next with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for talking to Lights Out.